Grab your popcorn cause it's Friday and this is On Cooldown. Today we will be talking about hunter buffs for Beast Mastery. Who's happy? The new raid has a release date and eye levels that don't seem crappy. The Brawlers Guild is coming back as a challenge mode like the Mage Tower. Professions are getting tools that give crafters more power, and we will say bye bye to portals and spying on Khadgar in the shower. Hello you wonderful nerds and welcome to Marcelian&Online and our weekly WoW news show On Cooldown. Today there's quite a bit to talk about, and since I'm just a pretty face, I will let Orc do all the talking from now on. We have quite a bit to go through today, so strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. Beastmaster hunters are getting buffs in 8.1.5. Currently, they are the worst performing spec in Battle for the Zara lore. The other hunter specs aren't top of the list either, but at least they have their place. Sure, you can play whatever you want and still do really good damage if you know your class. But for high-end boys, there are plenty of options for people to take besides Beastmaster hunters. But hopefully not for long. The new patch is coming with some initial buffs, and I say initial because I hope they don't stop here. Barb Shot is getting a damage buff of 125%. 125% seems like a big number, so let's try to put it into perspective. I've taken the liberty of pulling a log from one of the world's best Beastmaster hunters so we can more accurately grasp the strength of this buff. If we take a look at his overall damage dealt, we can see that Barb Shot will be fairly down the line in terms of damage output throughout the fight. Buffing the damage of that alone doesn't seem to make much of a difference at first glance. However, the buff is twofold. The bleed damage will ignore armor as well. Now, I'm a bit confused on this part regarding armor, which I believe only applies in PvP, a scene where, again, Beastmaster hunters have been lacking in. The second buff they received is to Cobra Shot, and that skill got a 25% damage boost. Cobra Shot provides overall more damage compared to Barb Shot on live, but not by much. There are talents, however, that focus a lot on Cobra Shot, and with those talents taken, the buff might be more impactful. I did some mock-up tests to get a rough idea of how much this will impact the live servers, and I used my 110 level hunter for this. Yeah, this will not be very accurate, and that's not the point of this either. The purpose is a comparison between the live version of BM to the PTR version. Looking at some of the data, the buffs do seem to be more impactful than they first appear. I will, however, reserve a healthy dose of skepticism until we have some decent parses out. But if this scales proportionally, we could see bigger differences at high end. I will say one thing though, I'm glad to see this happening. A class at the bottom of the performance list is getting attention. I want more, this is not enough, I want more of this. What specs do you guys feel need more love? I still haven't leveled my hunter yet, so I only know this from my guild and Warcraft logs. On to the Crucible of Storms, the new mini raid that is coming with 8.1.5. As to no one's surprise, the raid will not be available right away, but it will be on April the 16th. The date was announced last week, just as we were finishing up on the video, but it does paint a picture, one that I will share with you in a moment. The raid will be on April the 16th, giving us time to finish our deals with Battle for the Zara lore. But not really. The achievements ahead of the curve and cutting edge for both of the raids will still be obtainable up until the release of the 8.2 raid. It seems that the content gets delayed with every new patch, if we were to compare it with the Legion timeframes. There could be multiple reasons for this, and I will state mine. Legion was a very expensive expansion to make. And following that, we have BFA with one of the worst receptions in the game's lifetime. Clearly, a lot of stuff they made for the expansion is shit, and they are reworking it. Stuff like the Azerite traits. My belief is that the reason for the delay is that they want to change as much of the broken system as they can without making it cross over to too many future patches. Delaying every patch could give them enough time to flush out broken systems like the Azerite by the time 8.2 rolls out, and so on. And I hope this applies to class balance as well. And yes, the raids that we will have in April will be running simultaneously as part of the same raid tier and general season. The new raid will be coming out with 2 bosses and new gear, which I am personally very excited about. We mentioned the new items and their effects in a past video, which you can check out if you like. We've been complaining a lot about the itemization system being boring and unintuitive for the first 2 raid tiers. Sure, we have Azerite traits, but I doubt you will stand here and tell me that the Azerite trait system is a good element of this expansion. Not only that, but the gear in the new raid won't scale in eye level too much, but it will scale a bit. To be precise, the items that will drop in the new raid will be 5 eye levels higher in comparison to the respective difficulty levels in the Zara lore. Meaning that we will see 375 eye level for LFR, 390 for normal, 405 for heroic, and 420 in mythic. And 5 eye levels above that for the second boss of the raid. So that's 380 for LFR, 395 for normal, 410 for heroic, 425 for mythic. It appears that the loot table will not contain Azerite pieces of any kind, but generic gear with non-generic item effects. Yep, we will have procs on pants and belts now, which is exciting. But really, anything can make BFA exciting at this time. No, I take that back. Please don't prove me wrong, Blizzard. I know you can, but please don't. Having 2 raids run simultaneously is really cool and I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure how my raid leader is going to schedule this, but hey, that's his problem. Are you excited for the new mini raid? Don't go anywhere because we still have some stuff to talk about. Before that, consider subscribing to our channel if you like our content. We are still growing as YouTube content creators and your support means the world to us. Next item on the list, the Brawlers Guild, is returning in 8.1.5. Finally, we have challenges again and I hope this won't be the only challenge mode that we get. What's the Brawlers Guild? The Brawlers Guild is essentially a series of challenges where you will fight boss-like NPCs that each have their own mechanics you need to learn to work around. The more you fight, the higher ranking opponents you can defeat and get the special gold currency you can use for perks, items and such. Some of the rewards that piqued my interest are the Bruce mount, the heirloom weapon and the transmog set. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten an invite before and honestly never thought it was much of anything to begin with. And right now I'm eating my own foot. I'm excited about this one and you can bet we will have content on our channel in the form of guides or whatever will seem appropriate at the time. Let's talk about professions. Briefly. Professions are again getting some new stuff in the new patch, and we will probably see this trend throughout the expansion because professions are baseline boring. The new items will come from quest lines, available to most likely all of the professions, taking us a little back in time to the Legion system of the professions. An example of such an item would be the blacksmithing hammer. This bad boy has 2 functions. One would be to imbue items you craft with blacksmithing with the indestructible property, although with a chance to proc. The other cool thing it can do is to repair a piece of equipment. As of now, it seems it can only repair 1 piece of armor with a 1-hour cooldown, which honestly doesn't sound very useful. If your gear breaks, it all breaks at the same time, pretty much. In that scenario, repairing only 1 piece is fairly useless since you won't be able to do whatever it is you are planning on doing with only 1 repaired item. Initially, I thought this would repair your entire equipment, helping in raiding scenarios where you wipe after wipe at a specific boss and your gear turns red. Or during indoor mythic dungeons where you cannot mount the Tundra Mammoth to repair. But it doesn't seem to be like that, making that feature essentially shit. Inscription also has blood contracts that can summon avatars to act as pets, that can tank or heal you or DPS, which is interesting. And you will be doing them with the new Sanguine Feather Quill of Lanathel. Jesus, now that's a long name. Last item on today's list is portals. As some of you know, the upcoming patch will bring a change to Orgrimmar and Stormwind. Both of the capital cities will have their respective portal rooms. The portals presented are gateways to major locations in a specific expansion zone, like Shatrath for the Burning Crusade or Borealis for BFA and so on. With this addition, a lot of older portals have been removed and some haven't been replaced. People have voiced their concerns regarding this and the devs answered with what I feel to be a perfectly reasonable answer.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
More portals simply cut down on travel time and make the world seem smaller. Of course, no portals would make it terribly inconvenient and troublesome. However much you guys will hate me for saying this, I believe that the lack of focus on socialization and world building that WoW has had as a consequence of so many expansions is hurting the game. And the issue is that the world itself doesn't feel as massive as it used to. People like to say vanilla was such a good time in WoW's history. The same people might also say that they are tired of walking everywhere and they want flying faster or more portals. On this very specific point of view, I want to iterate that one of the reasons we enjoyed the world back in vanilla and also TBC is that it felt big. Walking around was very tedious. There were almost no portals unless you were a mage that could make portals. Because going from point A to point B was so tedious, actually reaching point B felt more impactful. Sure, it might sound trivial now, but that's because we made it trivial over the years. Little game flavors like this that have been cut out years past have accumulated into a lot of loss of personality for the game. We can draw a very fair analogy with the real world since the feeling is very similar. To travel in the real world is very tedious. It takes a lot of time and money, which is why our vacations are so carefully planned out. We enjoy our trip more since we get to do it so rarely. We enjoy our stay more since it took so much effort to get there. I'm not saying that WoW should become tedious and we should delete all portals. I'm saying that if it took me 30 minutes to go from capital A to capital B, I would have to actually plan my purpose there. For example, right now I use the Thunder Bluff portal in the Zara lore to travel to the auction house since I feel this is the closest way. I auction my goods, then Hearthstone back to the Zara lore, and if I forget something, I take the portal back, and all of this would take me about 10 minutes. Why should it take more? Well, why should it take less? When we start cutting out little things that make a world, then we start to feel that our world is merely a few instanced zones connected by a portal's loading screen. I honestly think that they should remove most of the portals completely. Let us travel to Outland by actually going through the Dark Portal. Let's reach Northrend via boat or Zeppelin. We can have a portal to the Legion's Dalaran, but that would make sense. We would be teleporting to the magical capital of the world that has no other connection to any route or flight path. When things make sense, the world makes sense, and when the world makes sense, it becomes the world of Warcraft. Get ready for the new patch with a sleek new look on your UI. Check out Marcelian's video on our add-on setup. He will guide you step by step so that everything can look super nice when you start your adventure off as the new Zandalari Troll or Kultiran Human. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to get notified with all the new content that we create, and we will. Thanks for watching the video, I'll catch you guys next time.